Hello, it's Joe Wilson, and once again another edition of Old School Boxing Talk. This one here is going to be about, hmm, I don't know. I'll come up with something at the end of it, but here's what. Last week, I came back, did my video, whatever, and after I did my video, I was watching some of the other channels. Um, my man Carcino, Blood Boxing, Black Fight Fan, Dante's Boxing Nation, all the other brothers out there, Royal Baines, 74, that brother's the truth. Um, and I watched these, I guess were the LDBC, I don't know. I don't even, whatever. So I watched everybody was up in arms over ESPN's pound for pound list. And they were comparing the pound for pound list, and the one brother on the one channel, I forgot, Truth and Fact about Truth and Facts. He had a panel on there. They were comparing it to the ESPN's list and Ring Magazine's list, and I noticed on both lists how fighters who are not with HBO and not with Top Rank and not with Golden Boy, which is the guys that are advised by Al Heyman, that are being promoted through Mayweather Promotions, Richard Schaefer's new venture, etc. on, who are some of the better fighters in the world, were on nobody's pound for pound list. I think the only guy that might have made it from that list, I'm sorry, there were two guys. Carl Frampton made it on one, and Keith Thurman made it. Well, that's wow. Um, and I noticed how high Gennady Golovkin was ranked. I noticed how high people are ranked, and I heard a lot of people complaining about the list. It's a fictional list. Everybody has a list. The best fighter pound for pound, whatever, whatever. My problem where I stopped following the pound for pound list was when the pound for pound list was originally put together. It was put together back in 1940, I believe, during the reign of Joe Louis. And the reason it was put together was Joe Louis was the heavyweight champion of the world, and nobody really, and that was all America focused on, the heavyweight champion. What was Joe Louis doing? But there were great fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson, who always got his due, and Henry Armstrong. And what happened is, this was the time when the American Boxing Writers Association were actually credible during the time of segregation and racial, racial bullshit. But they were totally unbiased. And the Boxing Writers of America created the pound for pound list for everyone not in the heavyweight division. Let me repeat that. For fighters not in the heavyweight division. My problem with the heavyweight division came all of a sudden. These idiots, that idiot Dan Raphael and these other idiots decided we're going to put heavyweights in the pound for pound list. No, that pound for pound list was made for the guys in lower weight class who don't get as much pub. Because the heavyweight division was, run by the Klitschko's, who have the personality of dry white bread, and they, needed some, and this bitter battle between those who won't kiss HBO's rings and those who will. You especially that stupid ass The Fight Game with racist bastard Jim Lampley. These idiots create their own pound for pound list, and I stopped watching these guys because I gave everybody, when it came to, I'm a boxing fan, been one my whole life. I gave everybody in the boxing media a fair chance. I would read Dan Raphael stuff. I got, would try to get into his little he has a little chat session every Friday. I try to get in on that, but then as I started listening to these other brothers and watching these other things, I started noticing a lot of crap. Now, I've always known HBO was, well, pretty much a racist type of deal, because I remember, like I said, my biggest example, and I've said it before, is the Larry Holmes-Jerry Cooney fight, how they disrespected Larry Holmes how Larry Merchant disrespected Larry Holmes, how HBO in general disrespected Larry Holmes. You know, they just totally disrespected Larry Holmes totally. But Larry Holmes just happened to be the champion that came behind. Larry Holmes was not Ali. I'm sorry, not everybody can be Ali. There'll never be another Ali. So I kind of said, okay, I kind of said, okay, whatever. And I kind of didn't really make a big deal of it because I just figured, hey, Jerry Cooney, the Great White Hope, yeah, white America wants a champion, blah, 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 blah. But here's a funny thing. America wants a white heavyweight champion, but they want an American white heavyweight champion. Because in the last couple of years since Lennox Lewis, the world has had 3 white heavyweight champions, none of them American. The Klitschko brothers have each held a piece of the title, and then Tyson Fury, who unfortunately had drug issues, is still the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, and is undefeated. But he's British, but he's a character. Tyson Fury is a character. But the point is, America didn't embrace him because why? Well, he's not one of ours. He's not American white. He's not Jerry Cooney. He's not Jerry Cooney because unlike Jerry Cooney, Tyson Fury could actually fight. Tyson Fury could actually fight. But that aside, let's get back to the pound for pound list. I looked at it and I kind of see where all the fuss was all about. But then to my brothers and sisters in the LDBC, I'm like, are you really shocked that Dan Rafael, that ass-kissing, know-nothing, Bob Arum, dick-sucking bastard, doesn't know what the hell he's talking about? Here's the thing. There was a time when ESPN was more biased. There was a time ESPN actually was biased. Except, yes, Friday Night Fights was always Bob Arum's pet. That was Bob Arum because Bob Arum did about 85 to 90% of the Friday Night Fights. But when they had the little stadium show, when I first became aware of Max Kellerman, ESPN was pretty much biased. They didn't kiss the ass of no promoter. They were pretty much biased. And for the longest time, ESPN stayed biased. Then all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, ESPN and HBO got in this little agreement to work together and help co-promote. All of a sudden, ESPN lost its objectivity and became the voice, pretty much, of HBO. So whatever HBO, if you were on good terms with HBO, you were on good terms with ESPN. You were on bad terms with HBO, you were on bad terms with ESPN. Floyd Mayweather has always been on bad terms with HBO. On his show when Brian Kenny had a verbally schooled Brian Kenny. If you go back in the early days when Floyd was in good terms with HBO and he dealt with ESPN, it was always great. But when Floyd Mayweather decided to get rid of Bob Arum and take his career in his own path and pretty much call the shots, all of a sudden he started getting treated badly by ESPN and a lot of these other boxing writers of America who are all in the pocket of HBO. So when these guys do their pound for pound list, and I look at the fact that the inconsequential list is the only reason Andre Ward honestly is on there is because he beat Kovalev and they're still crying about that. And I've never seen an American gold medalist treated with such disrespect and treated as badly as Andre Ward has been. De La Hoya was treated like gold. Leonard was treated like gold. American gold medals, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Tiller, these guys were treated like gold by HBO. They treat Andre Ward like garbage. Which is, like I said, if his 3-fight deal with them is done, I hope his people are smart and they get the fuck away from HBO. Fuck you. If you want to go fuck around with Showtime. They'll treat you better. What the hell? Your career started at Showtime. You went to HBO for the money and exposure. Well, guess what? Now Showtime's a big place to be, so you need to go the hell back. Showtime put you on the map. The Super 6, they was the ones that did that shit. They put you on the map. So you need to go back. Now's the time. What I noticed aside of that was how Keith Thurman was ranked so low, if not ranked at all. Carl Frampton got on there, and it was like he was ranked really low. And he's a 2-division undefeated champion who just beat an undefeated featherweight champion in Leo Santa Cruz. But because of his association with Al Heyman, and because Al Heyman and HBO on the outs, well, we're not going to show them no love. And that idiot Dan Rafael's always been an ass-kissing, ambulance-chasing bastard, because he's always kissing either Top Rank's ass or Golden Boy's ass. If you go back before the Golden Boy Top Rank split, before the Golden Boy Al Heyman split, when all these fighters, Keith Thurman, all these guys were fighting, when Golden Boy was their promoter, when Golden Boy was exclusively promoting all the Heyman fighters, go back and look at how Dan Rafael was talking about them, how Dan Rafael was treating them, how Dan Rafael was then. A whole different thing as to the way he is now. So when you tell me that, when I heard about, ESPN's list, and, I'm not shocked. I'm like, come on, am I really shocked? That ESPN and then Ring TV, Ring Magazine, which is owned by Oscar De La Hoya, am I really shocked that they're going to put their guys higher up there and put other people down low or exclude other people? No, because it's their list. I mean, I personally don't do pound for pound lists, but if I did, there's a lot of fighters I would have in there. There's a lot of fighters I would have higher. Some fighters that made ESPN and Ring's pound for pound top 10 might not make mine. But the pound for pound list is a judgment. It's subjective. Everybody has the guys they think are the best pound for pound. One of the guys that people were complaining about was Lomachenko. I like Lomachenko. I do. Because when you go from the amateurs fighting the best guy, you can't cherry pick in the amateurs. And you go in the amateurs, you're fighting the best guys, then you turn pro and keep that going. I like Vasily Lomachenko because he's done that. He's fighting the best guys. And yes, he lost to Orlando Salido. Absolutely lost Salido. But he's gotten better from that. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, one of the folks that was complaining about him was he's only got this amount of fight, then this. I'm not like, yeah, he does. But let me explain. Look at the guy Gary Russell Jr. who he beat. Gary Russell Jr. had 24 fights. He fought absolutely nobody. So if Lomachenko in his third pro fight lost his second pro fight to a guy like Orlando Salido, yeah, he's not a world beater. But come on, who the fuck's Gary Russell Jr. for? Come on, it's fair is fair. Gary Russell Jr. got owned by Lomachenko. Owned. And that was in Lomachenko's third pro fight. Gary Russell's 25th. I'm just saying, my thing with a lot of the problems I see with the LDBC is we understand that there's a portion of America that do not want to see black athletes and black athletes of any kind succeed. That for the longest time, because blacks and Latino dominate boxing, there's a white community out there that has accepted it. They don't like it, but they accepted it. And I guess Floyd Mayweather kind of really pissed them off because, look, it was all they accepted because if you were in good with HBO and you kissed HBO's ass and then everything was okay. But when you didn't go along with the program, you called your own shots, well, then now, Houston, we got a problem. And it's already been proven fact that HBO's kind of went downhill since Floyd left. Floyd left, they stopped messing with Al Heyman, and their programming, they're down to a handful of people. They don't have their subscriptions are going down because streaming services are cutting their subscriptions. Like I said, I've said in my last video, I will never buy HBO again. Only reason I used to get HBO again was for the fights, honestly. But I will never get HBO again as long as Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman and Harold Letterman are there. I'm not doing it with HBO. I like Showtimes because Paulie, I believe, is the best guy in the business. I think what you need even if they had HBO such a biased bunch of bastards that they would fuck that up. You know, because every company, every once in a while, Roy Jones will speak the truth to somebody, and HBO will get a burr up their ass, they'll fire Roy Jones. Then Bernard Hopkins will come in there for a couple months and kiss everybody's ass, and Roy will come back because, you know, well, everybody knows Bernard's just an ass kisser, you know, whatever. But you can't have nobody at HBO that really speaks the truth. You have to give their corporate spin on everything. And when you speak out, especially when you speak out against that idiot Lampley, you know, then all of a sudden, oh, you're a problem, so we got to get rid of you. So, and I've noticed how, you know, how a lot of guys try, you know, not to step on Mr. Lampley's toes, who knows absolutely fucking nothing about boxing. Go to a gym, you stupid bastard. Learn something. Get in the ring, spar, get a trainer. You know, do a little something. Learn about the damn crap that you're calling. But back to the pound for pound list. It's subjective. I don't like a lot of the fighters that were left off. I mean, honestly, how are you going to have a top 5 and you don't have Keith Thurman in your top 5? I'm just asking. I mean, I could see if I did a pound for pound list. Let's say I did a pound for pound list, okay, and I just did my top 5. Number 1, I'm going to have Andre Ward, because Andre Ward's the best fighter in my opinion. He's the best fighter out there today. Number 2, I mean, people might like it, but number 2, I'm going to have Vasily Lomachenko. I'm sorry, you don't like it. It's like I said, it's my list subjective. But I said that's why I don't do it. But number 2, I would have Vasily Lomachenko. At number 3, I would have Keith Thurman. Number 4, I would probably have Terrence Crawford. At number 4, at number 5, I would have Sergey Kovalev. That's like I said, that's subjective. That would be my top 5. That doesn't mean, you know, that, you know, you have to go by it. You don't even have to like it. But that's my opinion, which is the top 5. But I have put fighters in there that, honestly, their resumes warrant them being in there. Resumes warrant them being in that top 5. And, you know, you can't argue. Okay, there might be some that'll argue with Lomachenko's resume. But nobody can argue with Andre Ward's resume. You can't argue with Crawford. You can't argue with Keith Thurman. You can't argue with Kovalev's resume. You can't argue with the resumes of 4 of the 5 guys I have in my top 10. You can't, because those guys in their resume. I mean, I'm even willing. I don't even know why you're gonna argue with Lomachenko's resume, but you know there are those that will. But that's just, you know, the mentality. You know, that's why I don't really do pound for pound lists, because they're subjective. And some people gonna like it. Like, I might hear somebody say, well, why the hell didn't you put Gennady Golovkin in there? Gennady, if I went down further, I'm sure Golovkin will get in my top 10. I'm not gonna say he wouldn't. Excuse me, but he's not in my top 5. Because honestly, in my opinion, I believe that if Keith Thurman moved up to 160 to fight Golovkin, I think Keith Thurman had a hell of a shot at beating Golovkin. Because Keith Thurman's first of all, Keith Thurman's probably a fucking middleweight as is. That shrinks down to welterweight. And I think that's what's hurting Keith a lot, is that weight dream. I think Keith Thurman would go to 160. You give Keith Thurman, and the kind of, I seen what Kell Brooks was hitting him with. You let Keith Thurman hit those same shots. Houston, we might have a problem here. You know, Keith Thurman, people talk about Keith Thurman has a weakness to the body. They talk about, Keith Thurman has a knockdown out for a while. Keith Thurman hasn't done that. But, you know what Keith Thurman does? Keith Thurman beats the top guys. Keith Thurman has beaten top guys to get to where he is. No, but you can't question Keith Thurman's resume, because Keith Thurman has fought everybody out there. I mean, you know, he's fought everybody who's been put in front of him. When Manny Pacquiao couldn't get a fight, when he was having a hard time, Keith Thurman went on Instagram and said, yo, Manny, after the Porter fight, he said, I'll fight you. I didn't hear Bob Arum or nobody from Manny Pacquiao's team open their flipping mouth. They didn't even acknowledge that call out. They didn't acknowledge it. Even now, they talk about, oh, we'll fight Adrian Broner. Oh, we'll fight Danny Garcia. Nobody around there is talking about fighting Keith Thurman. Nobody. I mean, look at Terrence Crawford is like, they don't even, look, Manny Pacquiao's people have already told Bob Arum, we're not fighting Terrence Crawford. Okay. Now people start talking about, well, maybe we'll fight the Garcia Thurman winner, provided the winner is Garcia. Because I guarantee you, if Danny Garcia beats Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter, I'm sorry, not Sean Porter, I'm sorry, Sean, but Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford's people, Bob Arum will line his people up. And it's not that Crawford wouldn't fight Thurman, but Bob Arum is not going to let him fight Thurman. But the point, if Danny Garcia would beat Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao be beating his door down, Kell Brooks will be beating his door down, all these cats, will be beating his doors down to fight Danny Garcia. When Keith Thurman beats Danny Garcia, you're going to hear crickets. You're going to hear crickets. All that talk about, oh, we'll fight the Garcia Thurman winner, you're going to hear crickets. Going to get quiet. Quiet. Because all that talk about, because that's when Manny's going to be, I can't fight them because I got senatorial duties. That's when, Crawford really, Bob's going to say, Crawford, no, we're not going to 147 right now. Kell Brooks don't want to fight Earl Spence Jr. You think he want to fight Keith Thurman? Brooks don't want none of that work. Kell Brooks trying to get a fight with Manny Pacquiao, get that big money fight, or he trying to jump back to 154 if HBO have him and go fight Canelo. Because see, here's the trick. Canelo's people just came out and said, well, Canelo's going to have a fight in February, maybe, and he's going to keep the 154-pound title. Or, if he doesn't, maybe we'll jump to middleweight for a fight in May. Which means they're going to get Billy Joe Sanders. Now, and by the time I get this out, Billy Joe Sanders will struggle in his return bout after being off a year. He struggled. He didn't look good in his last defense. But okay, here's the thing. Now, come May, come that time, if they can't secure Billy Joe Sanders, look for Team Canelo to make a phone call to Team Brooks to try to justify, okay, well, we're going to keep the 154-pound title, but we want, Kell Brooks put up a hell of a go against Golovkin. We'll fight Kell Brooks, and then they'll say, well, we have a common opponent. No, they say they want to fight Golovkin in October, November. Okay, if it happens, it happens, but I could see a case where Kell Brooks uses that fight, says, you know what, I really can't make 154. Yeah, I didn't want to give up my strap, but I'm going to have to give up my strap because I got to go here to get away from fighting Earl Spence Jr., to get up there to fight Canelo, get a second L, but make big money. Earl Spence Jr. will wind up winning that title, and he's going to be probably, they going to, real problem because ain't nobody at 147 really want to fight Earl Spence. I mean, people talk about, how the same fighters get the same title shots because they're the guys that want to fight. The only guys going to really fight him is going to be Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Be like, yeah, I'll go in there. I'll go in there. Robert the Ghost Guerrero, God bless him. That brother will fight anybody. They keep, well, why is he getting these fights? Because Robert Ghost Guerrero's like, fuck it, win or lose, I'm in there. You going to test me, and that's what I like about Robert the Ghost Guerrero, because he's a guy at this point in his career where if you're not on your game, the Ghost will knock you the fuck off. I mean, trust me, if Robert the Ghost Guerrero was as shot as people say he is, you ain't see Manny Pacquiao talking about, I'll fight Robert the Ghost Guerrero. No, because Manny know he don't want that work. Manny know he don't want that work from Robert. Earl Spence is probably going to want to fight Robert the Ghost Guerrero in either his first defense, or I would not be shocked if he wanted to fight Robert the Ghost Guerrero for the vacant IBF title, because it seems like the Peterson boy doesn't want that work. I don't really see them putting Sean Porter in there with him I think that's a fight they're going to save for later. Tim Bradley ain't. Tim Bradley is just not. No, Tim Bradley's staying right there safely in the confines of top rank. He ain't even trying. Oh, I don't want the IBF belt. I only want one belt. Yeah, that's you want the one y'all control. That but you ain't getting a fourth fight with Manny. Nobody wanted the second fight. Nobody wanted the third fight. You thinking people gonna want a fourth fight? Shit. You're gonna set it in your. You could get that fight away for free. You still people don't want to see that. You lost all three of them. Manny's not going to fight. People are saying, "Well, Manny's back." People they take these fights Manny had, and now they're screaming Manny's back. Back from what? He fought a guy. Pacquiao fights the same guys over and over because he knows their styles. It's just like when he fought Eric Morales. He fought Eric Morales. He lost the first time. The last two fights with Morales, he knew what the hell to expect from Eric Morales. He made the adjustment to beat Eric Morales. He won them. His fights with Marquez have always been life or death because Marquez is the one guy that keeps switching up on him, and that has, his number. He's hoping to God to make that fifth fight with Marquez because he's like, I got it. In there's trilogy, the only guy that got a clear-cut win is Marquez, who put his ass to sleep. So now he's like, yeah, Marquez, yeah, let's get that wheel from Marquez. No, Marquez has a bad wheel. I hope my man Marquez, you're a Hall of Famer, he don't come back. Don't come back to that your legacy. You go out like that. Go out with that knockout win of Manny Pacquiao with your hand raised in Vegas. Let us all. That's what we want to remember. You on that corner turnbuckle, your hand raised, and you realizing the only way you're going to beat Manny was the way you did it, to put him to sleep because the judges were not going to give you a fight. Give that to you. Hell, they didn't give you you knocked him down in the third. They didn't give you. Two of the judges didn't give you a 10-8 round. Two judges gave you 10-9 round. You scored a knockdown. So, that's just like there's a lot of idiots in boxing. The thing about boxing, what we have to navigate is you have a lot of casuals. People that are casual boxing fans. They're not real boxers. They're casual. They might watch a fight here. They might hear about a guy here. What we as hardcore boxing fans have to do is try to, one, educate these idiots. Those that want to be educated, educate them. Those that don't, just whatever. Just, because you're going to have people jump on your channels that know nothing about boxing. They're going to try to challenge you to a little bit of boxing knowledge. Then when you shut them down, then, whatever. Man, I just ignore those people. I ignore them because it's like I was told, you can fix ignorance, but you can't fix stupid. And that's just the thing what we boxing people have to realize. Those of us that know boxing have to realize that ignorance can be fixed because you can, someone's ignorant can be given knowledge. For someone that's stupid, they don't, no matter what you tell them, it's like all these idiots out here. I'm going to take you a prime example. When 9/11 happened, Barack Obama was the senator in Illinois. Yet, Mr. Trump and his people and that idiot Rudy Giuliani, who should know better than anybody, spun that shit. A lot of these dummies believe that it was Obama's fault 9/11 happened. That Obama was president. No, don't try to rewrite history. We all know George W. Bush was president. Obama wasn't president when 9/11 happened. Bush was. But they used that, and these ignorant, uneducated sheep bastards believed them. And they got videos of him. I wonder what happened if Obama was on a vacation. He was on all those vacations he takes. Man took less vacation than any other president. But I'm just saying that's just how people are. There are some people that you can try to educate them and give them knowledge. There's some people that they just don't want it. No matter, they just want to hear what they hear. And whatever their thing is, they're like brick walls. They're just stupid. So you just got to say, all right, you're stupid. You know what? I'm not going to waste my time arguing with you. It is what it is. And go on. Just have to. It's, same thing. We as boxing fans have to go on. I mean, look at, we see what's going on. I also blame a lot of this problem. Matter of fact, another topic I want to bring up on my man from Black Fight Fans TV. Brought up the fact that people don't know who Deontay Wilder is. And that's like, he said, well, how nobody know? Because, you know what? I don't blame so much. Now, you can blame a lot of that on a lot of things, but you know who I blame that on? I blame it on promoters. I blame it on, I'm sorry, boxing has very, very bad promoters nowadays. They do. boxing needs another promoter like a Don King. Because let me tell you something about Don King. Whether you like him or not, nobody really knew who Tito Trinidad was. But Don King kept talking his boy up, putting his boy in high profile, talking him up. If Don King was still in the business like he was, and Deontay Wilder was being promoted by Don King, trust and believe me, everybody would know Deontay Wilder's name. He would be on Weed Box. He would be on Good Morning America. He would be, treated like the heavyweight champion of the world. Deontay, the Bronze Bomber, Wilder, because Don King would get it out there. Don King is considered by many, it's hard to argue with the greatest promoter in the history of boxing. It's hard to argue that because you look at Don King. Larry Holmes wasn't a very popular champion with the media, but people knew that when you ask people back in the day, who's the heavyweight champion of the world? Well, Larry Holmes. Even though Mike Weaver or whoever the hell, Mike Weaver held the WBA title for most at that point, but the point is nobody cared. Who was the heavyweight champion? Oh, Larry Holmes. Why? Because Don King made sure you knew who the heavyweight champion was, especially since he was with him. And if I think that we have promoters more like King, not the bad stuff about King, but the good thing, especially with this social media and all this stuff here, if we had that today, man, if Deontay Wilder had a promoter like that, Deontay, you wouldn't have these problems. Oh, nobody knows who Deontay Wilder is. The reason nobody knows who is because you don't have somebody out there putting it out there like that. Ali didn't need a promoter because Ali promoted himself. But there are guys out there that need a promoter. And that's what made Don King so great because he promoted his guys. You knew who his guys were. And his guys were good. And I think that's the problem we have in boxing. We don't have that when we rely so much on social media that we've forgotten about doing it the old-fashioned way. You still got to go out there. You still got to do certain things. And we've forgotten, when you use social media, and we've forgotten that sometimes it takes more than just social media to get to promote a fighter. I think with the help of social media, Don King would be awesome. If he was a younger man, Don King would be flipping awesome today. Because Don King was that carnival barker that, hey, come here, you got to see this, Don King was that's the kind of guy, Don King's the kind of guy that could, if there are two old ladies fighting in a Walmart, Don King and some unknown island, Don King will sell that shit out within minutes. Because that's who he is. Well, I'm going to bring this video to a close. And hopefully by next time I see you, it will be after we'll talk about the Terrence Crawford, John Molina fight. That fight takes place next week. So until then, this Dope Wilkerson signing out. Talk to you next week.